The Boston Celtics have maintained a satisfactory level of form since the beginning of the season. In their last 8 games, they suffered only one loss, which was against the Indiana Pacers in the NBA Cup semifinals. Their most recent match was a win against the Orlando Magic a few days ago. In that game, played a few days ago, the Boston Celtics established control over the match from the start and maintained a convincing lead throughout, securing another win to remain at the top of the Eastern Conference. Despite the visitors having a significant advantage in rebounding, the Boston Celtics, primarily due to exceptional shooting percentages, secured the victory. Jason Tatum scored 30 points, while Peyton Pritchard repeated his season-high performance with 21 points. We believe that the Boston Celtics are a sufficiently quality and experienced team to replicate a similar performance against an opponent that is significantly less experienced. The potential return of Kristaps Porzingis could provide an additional opportunity for the team's growth. The Orlando Magic is experiencing a slight dip in form, which is somewhat expected. At one point in the season, the team managed to string together 9 consecutive wins, tying the franchise's longest winning streak. However, after that impressive run, they have only secured 2 wins in the last 5 games. Despite the recent slightly weaker form over the past 10 days, the team boasts an outstanding overall record of 16 wins and 8 losses. What should be encouraging for fans is that many key players in the roster are very young, and there's potential for additional growth among most of them. Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero are undoubtedly the 2 most important players representing the future of the team. Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs, along with Moritz Wagner, the older brother, complement them well. Orlando has been known throughout the season for its solid defense. However, in the last game against this opponent, defense was a notably weaker aspect of their performance. If they intend to pose a threat to the favored home team, they will need to significantly improve in that area. These 2 teams have played 2 games in this season, and each has secured a victory, one on their home court. Luke Cornett will miss the match for the home team. Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis are questionable. Markelle Fultz and Wendell Carter are questionable for the games. The home team is the absolute favorite to win this duel. Primarily, they are a more quality and experienced team than their opponent. It's worth noting that, in the current NBA season, they have played 13 games at home and emerged victorious in each one. We believe this trend will continue, and the margin of victory will be no less than 6 points. Our prediction is Boston Celtics minus 5.5. The San Antonio Spurs have accustomed us to the fact that in any composition, they always go for win and fight for a place in the playoffs. However, it is clear that for years this team has not had quality, but neither has a clear plan on how to become a serious factor again. First in the Western Conference. This is evidenced by this historically bad season for the San Antonio Spurs. Until recently, they were on just 3 wins from 23 games, which speaks volumes for the state of Greg Popovich's team. The goal of this franchise right now is not the result, but the development of young players. First of all, it's Victor Wembanyama and Devin Vassell, who has gone from a secondary plan to being very effective and someone Popovich can rely on. On the other hand, it can be seen that the French center is still looking for her and that she will not be a superstar anytime soon. That is, there is still time and room for improvement. And in such a situation, the San Antonio Spurs managed to beat the Los Angeles Lakers 129-115. It was Vassell with 36 points who was by far the best individual at the meeting, while Keldon Johnson scored 17. That tandem was enough to beat the opponent, who has problems at the beginning of the season. The New Orleans Pelicans entered this season with the thought that the team's 2 biggest stars, Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson, would improve primarily in the field of leadership skills, and that they could be even more dangerous for rivals in that case. However, that did not happen. Everyone still plays their own game, regardless of the team's win. If Ingram and Williamson could find a way to put individual stats aside and focus more on collective success, things would be much better. In the introduction to this duel, the New Orleans Pelicans defeated the Charlotte Hornets in an uncertain ending 112-107, in a meeting in which Jonas Valanciunas was unstoppable with 29 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 assists, while Williamson added 21 points with 11 assists. This win is good because of the way it was achieved. The New Orleans Pelicans also showed that with good defense, they can break the resistance of their rivals and thus triumph. That said, they showed versatility, and this was one of their best games of the season. The 2 teams played once this season. New Orleans Pelicans won 121-106. Charles Bassey will not play at home, while Tree Jones is questionable. Larry Nance, Jr., Matt Ryan are unavailable for the visitors, and Darian Sebron is questionable. Regardless of the fact that the San Antonio Spurs beat the Los Angeles Lakers, it would be too much to expect that one of the worst teams in the league, which has shown almost the least so far, would beat a top team for the second time in a row. The New Orleans Pelicans, on the other hand, have a chance to climb further to the top of the table, and our suggestion is that they will use that motivation to win by a margin higher than the offered handicap. Our prediction is New Orleans Pelicans minus 6.5. Phoenix Suns are going through a certain crisis, despite the fact that their big three has finally found themselves on the court together. In their last 5 NBA games, they have only secured one win. Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker form one of the most offensively dangerous trios in the NBA. However, as expected, it will take time for them to properly distribute roles and extract the maximum from their capacities in the remaining part of the season. The club's leaders expressed the highest possible ambitions at the beginning of this project, but at least for now, it cannot be said that they are justifying those ambitions on the court. There's an impression that offensive production may not be such a problem. They will have enough time to get in sync. However, defensively, they do not look their best, which is among the main reasons for the majority of their losses. They are playing on their home court against a team they have lost to in their last 3 encounters. Furthermore, they are in poor form. This is an ideal opportunity for them to regain much-needed confidence with a triumph and to get into a winning rhythm. As expected, the Washington Wizards don't have much to threaten the rest of the NBA, especially after the departure of Bradley Beal. It seems like they are in a rebuilding phase, evident from their negative record of 420 so far this season. The team's major issue lies in the lack of quality and a true leader on the court, which is the main reason for numerous defeats. At times, the team appears to be playing without the pressure of achieving any results, almost as if they are in a GA league. Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole have shown that they cannot be the main players for an NBA franchise. When one of them has a good shooting night, they can score a significant number of points, but the defense looks completely unserious and lacks engagement. Facing the Phoenix Suns, they are aware that such lapses will be punished, so they need to find additional motivation. In their last 7 games, they have only won once against the Indiana Pacers. It's evident that they performed well against an opponent with a similar playing style, but with higher quality players. They made 13 three-pointers out of 24 attempts, and if they want to pose a threat to the Phoenix Suns, their shooting percentages will need to be at a similar level. Washington Wizards have won every time in their last 3 matchups against the Phoenix Suns. Eric Gordon and Damian Lee will not play for the Phoenix Suns due to injuries. Bradley Beal and Josh Okogie are questionable. On the other side, Delon Wright, Landry Shamet, Ryan Rollins, and Johnny Davis will not be playing. We will witness a clash between 2 NBA teams whose focus is maximally directed towards the offensive aspect of the game. Therefore, a fast pace of play is expected with several transitions and plenty of 3-point attempts. The Phoenix Suns aim to break their negative streak against the Washington Wizards and end a series of 3 consecutive losses, while the visiting team is highly motivated to compete and finally play in better form, seeking to resist. Hence our betting suggestion is that we anticipate the Wizards to play a competitive game and not be defeated by a margin greater than the offered handicap. Our prediction is Washington Wizards plus 12.5.